Let's talk about what's coming up this weekend, though, because there's a massive match in the Premier League between Tottenham and Manchester United. It feels like, Ali, Manchester United are always on the verge of crisis, and nothing much has changed, has it? They've only won one match in their last 5. Tottenham, on the other hand, have won 4 of their last 5. How do you see this game going?
Well, yeah, I always think that about Man United as a Chelsea fan. So, no, I think just barring a lot of injuries, and you know, I'm excited for the game. This is going to be a game that could really turn the season around. We were speaking about this earlier today, and I think Man United, if they can, you know, come in and set the tone, especially at home, and take advantage of that atmosphere, it'll be great. They obviously need points. They're, you know, middle of the table now, and then Tottenham can get into the top 4 if they do win. So both teams have, you know, incentive to really bring their game, and obviously with the new signings with Tottenham and Timo Werner, I know we're going to speak about that, but that's really exciting. Hopefully he will get to play. And then, you know, some of the players who have been injured for Man United, which has caused their season to kind of go the way that it has, they will hopefully be back. There's 3 or 4 players who are going to be able to join the team, and I hope we get to see them play.
Yeah, it's a great point.
I was going to say, who's going to be more optimistic about United? Me, an Arsenal fan, they play Tottenham, or you, a United fan?
Oh, man, Alexis, we always talk about United, and I have a scowl on my face, and this usually the frown is about to finally get turned upside down, folks, because I'm optimistic, because United, they are the yo-yo team alongside Chelsea, your Chelsea, in the Premier League. When they lose a game, there's usually this uncharacteristic, this unexpected result where they turn up. I go back to what they did Boxing Day against Aston Villa, going down 2-0, and the second half performance, and it's led by the youngster Alejandro Garnacho. This kid has been in good form against Nottingham Forest. He forced the turn. And Poppy, I know that's smart.
What was the score in that game? He was good against
barring
Forest.
the score of the game.
He lost 2-1 in.
But against Forest, he forced the assist. Against Villa, 2 goals. And against Wigan, I thought he was the best player on the field. And him and Marcus Rashford, if they come good, and Marcus Rashford, man, he's taken a lot of criticism, but Marcus Rashford, as of late, in his last couple games, 4 games, he's got 1 goal, 2 assists, and that's something that has to be talked about.
Yeah, but
he's not fully
Wigan,
back.
So how much can you really, I know you can only play the team in front of you, but you are also, Manchester United fans are optimistic, aren't they? But can you really read into Wigan being the only win, Alexis, in the last 5 games?
I think that's tough. I mean, especially when you're going up against a team like Tottenham, which we know how they're going to play. They're going to put you on your back heel. They're going to attack. They're going to send as many men forward as possible. I also want to see what happens with United with this, maybe a new chapter starting with Jadon Sancho leaving, that sort of issue that was. It felt like they were in purgatory for so long. He's over at the U18s in the canteen eating with them, training on his own. Seems like the manager sort of won this little stalemate here, this game of chicken. And maybe this is an opportunity for Manchester United to kind of get maybe that little bit of a chip off their shoulder, maybe start fresh. I don't know. I'm trying to find any reason to say something positive about Manchester United on this here show, because I get cooked in the comments just by simply talking about where they stand in the standings.
Yeah, I think one player that could decide this match from the United standpoint, Bruno Fernandes against Tottenham Hotspurs, that's one of the teams that he tends to show up against. He's, I think, 3 goals against Spurs in his career. For him, when he decides he wants to play, and no, they're not playing Wigan, and that dive, it was a dive that he got for the penalty. When he decides he wants to play, United, whether it be in the Champions League or in the Premier League or any competition, they are a team that we're like, okay, is this the United that we're going to see more of? But the inconsistencies in transition, I think that's where they could get cooked against the Tottenham Hotspurs. That possession, they're amazing. That's been one of the benefits of Ange Postecoglou and Ange Ball. But Spurs, once they break you down and building out of the back, they get numbers forward. And on the counterattack, United, they don't do well with cutbacks in the 18, and that's where Spurs can cook them.
Ali, as a player, if you're playing for Manchester United and all this pressure is on you, and it feels like every match for the manager could be the last, how difficult is that? Do you feel like in some sense you are fighting for the manager? Is the team divided in some ways?
For sure, and I wanted to express this, that last year watching Man United, you felt like they were playing for the coach, because you do want to look to the sideline as a player, and you want to fight for your coaching staff. You want to fight not only for yourself and for your teammates, but you get motivation when you look to the side and you want to be great and perform well for them, because of how much work they put into managing you as a player and wanting the team to be successful. And then this year, I feel like Man United, it doesn't seem like the players have that willingness to want to fight for Ten Hag. I don't know. This is just me from the outside looking in, where it just doesn't seem like they have that spark, that willingness to want to do that. And and I do think it's a huge factor for teams at this level. And it can make or break a season, it can make or break a game. And this is one of the most important games for them. It could go either way, and they needed to go their way in order to, stay within in reach of the top four.
I know a couple of weeks ago, Scott McTominay came out in a press conference and said the players are playing for the coach. We like this coach. We want to back him. I'm paraphrasing. But the body language on the pitch doesn't show me that at all. It still feels like the body language is like, oh, it's happening to us again. And that's a slide that can really get away from you.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that. And that was a conversation we were having. It was last season, Erik ten Hag, the mentality shift for Manchester United. You looked at defensively. They had a goalkeeper who's not there anymore, David De Gea, but he won the Golden Glove because their back line was a lot more solid. They, especially at home, their back line didn't concede as much, and there was high-fiving, there was chest bumping. It was that sort of camaraderie. And being on the field and as a former player, you know when the team is unified and body language is key. But now it seems as if one goal goes in or if they lose the lead, it's every man for themselves.
Yeah.
It's just everyone's divided. It's on an island. It's players playing not to make a mistake and look foolish.
And on the other side of that, I suppose it's the complete opposite, isn't it, for Tottenham and Ange Postecoglou, because he's come in and everybody loves Ange Ball. Yes, they've had a dip in form, but it feels like they've got it back. And now with the signing of Timo Werner, who had probably what was, it feels harsh to say, but a bit of a failure at Chelsea, even though he won a title there, the Champions League, and had double-digit goals in both seasons, it feels like he is maybe the best manager to get the best version of Timo. Is that what you're expecting?
Yeah, 100%. I know Timo probably wanted to come back to the league. I know he played for Chelsea for a few years, and wasn't. I don't think they got the best out of him there. So I'm hoping this is going to be a new motivation for him to really make a stamp in this league again. But the consistency for me is key with the lineup. As a player at this level, you need that consistency, and with all the injuries that are happening, you're having to fill these holes week in and week out, and it makes it really difficult to build those connections and build those relationships over time. And so at this level, it's so important that you have that, and I know both teams have kind of suffered injuries here and there, more so on Man United's side. So I think that, moving forward with these players coming back in, hopefully the second half of the season will be more consistent for them, and they can perform well and continue those relationships from, back to front.
I know Timo Werner said he's going to Tottenham to win titles. He also said he's going to the supermarket to get gas for his car. I think he's a little confused.
It's been a long time, hasn't it, for Tottenham since they won a title, 16 years? He's not the only one. As Radu Dragoshin has also joined Tottenham, so it'll be interesting to see a couple of new faces there. Christian Romero also looks like he could be back